KO kick by Prates.
Prates is sniping him right now, man.
Oh, lead elbow.
Oh, damn.
Man, the first time was so nice, I had to do it twice.
A few moments later.
Staying composed in the face of pressure.
So UFC 319 has now just wrapped up. What a card. There were some amazing finishes on this card. Obviously the main event was just crazy. Not the most entertaining fight, but it was definitely shocking how dominant Khamzat was in that fight. But anyway, let's talk about my predictions. I went 9-3, so pretty good. I mean, it still ranks on the leaderboard as the number 9 position. I will definitely take that. So let's just get straight into some of the fights. And where else better to start than the actual first fight on the card? Usually I don't really talk about the first fight on the card just because, you know, it's probably some lower level, no one really cares type of fight. But this was actually the tough flyweight final between Idris and Morales. I predicted Morales to win and he dominated Idris, bro. Like everywhere, bro. It was definitely a good scrap to start off the card. Amazing performance from Morales. It is clear that he has a lot more experience and a lot more, you know, time within the cage than Alibi Idris. You know, Morales has fought, you know, the likes of Davison Figueiredo in his past. And, you know, he had good takedowns, good control time. He made Idris miss a lot with, you know, his flashy strikes, you know, those spinning, you know, strikes. I don't know why he kept going for it, even though he never even landed like a single one. And then, you know, even at the end of that first round, he did lock in the rear naked choke, but, you know, the time did end in the round, so he was unlucky not to get that. But then in the second round, he just dominates Idris on the ground. Even when he got reversed, he's able to get that triangle choke. Yeah, man. Amazing win from Morales. Next up, let's talk about Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez. Hernandez gets the KO at the very end of the first round. A lot of us did not expect Hernandez to win this. You know, I predicted Hooper to win for sure, but, you know, maybe he just became a little bit careless, maybe switched off for a little bit at the end of that round, and Hernandez definitely did make him pay for it. To be fair, I will say Chase Hooper is not exactly known for being that good on the feet, and, you know, it showed. He got knocked out, obviously, so great win for Alexander Hernandez. For sure, I definitely expected Chase Hooper to win, and it is definitely a big pushback that he's lost this fight. Like, he could not afford to lose this fight, but it is what it is, I guess. You know, he can definitely rebound. He's still a young guy, obviously. But yeah, man, great win for Alexander Hernandez. Next up, Gerald Meerschaert versus Mikhail Oleksiychuk. Wow, man. Oleksiychuk has always been, you know, a decent mid-level kind of fighter, but we've never seen him look like that. To be fair, it's not really against the best of competition. Gerald Meerschaert definitely should retire. He's definitely on his way out. But Oleksiychuk, I guess ever since he's joined the Fighting Nerds in Brazil, his hands have just looked amazing in this fight. Even the knockout, it was a nasty combo, like a really, really nice, clean, sharp combo to get that KO in the first round. Big up to Mikhail Oleksiychuk. And, you know, he's definitely switched his career around. You know, he's definitely a win-loss fighter before, but, you know, now he's looking pretty decent, if I must say so myself. Now let's talk about this fight. Bayzangur Susurkayev versus Eric Nolan. Susurkayev gets the finish in the second round via submission. I'm sure not many of us thought that the fight would end like that. And especially this fight, it was much different to how the fans kind of panned it out. And you know what, it largely just comes down to Susurkayev's kind of like cockiness and stuff. He got rocked. And then I guess he kind of started to lock in a little bit. But this is his second win within 5 days. I don't know if that's the quickest turnaround in, you know, UFC modern history. But yeah, man, big up to Susurkayev. But he needs to let that go, man. You know, when you're in the octagon, there's no joking around. None of that. Like, you need to lock in. And he can definitely be a very, very big prospect. I'm not sure if he actually is a middleweight or if he's a welterweight. I'm not sure because obviously this was a very, very short notice fight. So maybe they just fought at middleweight instead. I'm not sure. But if he is at middleweight, he needs to lock in because, like, he can't be doing that if he's fighting, you know, higher levels of opponents. Also, I would say I think keep them both in the UFC. Obviously, keep Susurkayev in the UFC, but Eric Nolan as well. Just, you know, reward him for taking this short notice fight. And he almost did win this fight. You know, he was close. he definitely could have, I guess. Anyway, let's talk about the main card. Now, the first fight was Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. Bro, I gotta say, I am disappointed in Kai Asakura. He literally just allowed Tim Elliott to take him down willy-nilly at ease whenever he wanted, right? And you know, Asakura could have won this fight so easily. You know, in that first round, he was looking so speedy. To be fair, he was hardly landing. Maybe you have to give Elliott some credit for that, because Elliott was definitely evading pretty well. And in that first round, Elliott did secure a takedown near the end of that round, I'm pretty sure. But I still think Asakura took that round just based on the shots landed. So I do think Asakura actually won that first round. But the second round, Elliott actually started landing some good shots on the feet. You know, he does have an awkward ass style, but he just takes down Asakura easily. Obviously, Asakura did get up a few times, but at one point, you know, Elliott just locks in that guillotine. Amazing submission. Bro, Asakura, I don't know. I don't even know what to think about this guy. He has so much potential, and he easily could have won this fight, but, you know, he has some serious holes in his ground game. If you're losing to 38-year-old Tim Elliott, who hasn't fought for a year and a half, then, you know, you need to, you know, kind of improve in that, you know, grappling game. What's next for them, man? For Kai Asakura, I'm sure he's going to get booted out the rankings now. So obviously he's going to have to fight someone outside the rankings. For Tim Elliott, you know, he is a number 11 ranked guy. He's just coming off 2 wins now, actually. I would say probably a fight against Ramazan Temirov. You know, Temirov is under Tim Elliott in the rankings, but I do still think this would be a banging fight. They've both got really wild styles. Obviously, we've seen Tim Elliott, you know, last night. He was crazy, and Temirov, you know, he's always doing his spinning attacks, and, you know, he's got really entertaining striking, so I think that would be a good fight, man. Next up, we have to talk about this one, of course. This is a very highly anticipated fight, maybe a little bit lackluster in the end, but obviously we're talking about Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. MVP gets the 29-28 decision. Outside of a few moments, this was a bit of a dull fight, but obviously, this was textbook MVP, you know, with his showmanship and stuff like that. In that first round, Cannonier was trying to initiate the wrestling, which was a smart move from him. Like, if I was him, I would do the same thing, to be honest. And of course, Cannonier is certainly a much better wrestler than MVP. But then in the middle of that round, MVP just gets a really slick, unexpected knockdown. Just sends him, like, I think it was an uppercut or something, but it was clear, like, MVP has such good power, even in a, you know, the weight division above his, the middleweight division. He still sat down Cannonier, which was insane, because Cannonier is actually he has a very good chin, I'll give it to him. But obviously, MVP didn't really follow up with the knockdown. I don't know why. I mean, maybe he used to try to avoid going to the ground, which is, I guess, smart, but, you know, but at the end of that round, you know, there was some good clinch work by Cannonier, but I do still think MVP took that first round. Second round, again, MVP was so fast, he got another knockdown early. Cannonier was getting hurt, man, but MVP just wasn't following up on any of these knockdowns. But Cannonier, like, he wasn't even able to land any shots. Like, in those first 2 rounds, I swear he hardly landed anything. Obviously, you have to give credit to MVP for that, because Cannonier is a serious striker. We've seen that in this fight against Gregory Rodriguez. And then, you know, there was a takedown from Jared Cannonier in this round, but MVP just got back up quickly, so nothing really, you know, came from that takedown. And you know, the only thing that Jared had in that round is that he was kind of backing MVP up against the fence. Like, he was the one that was pushing MVP instead of the other way around, but still MVP took that round easily. Number 3, this was a big mistake round from MVP. He overcommits on some stupid Superman punch, and Jared obviously capitalizes on it. Very skillful, very, you know, sneaky, very quick. Obviously, he got the takedown from it, but, you know, Jared needed to use that takedown to try and get a submission. There was literally no other way he was winning that fight, but MVP did fairly well to defend on the bottom. Cannonier, he didn't do enough damage on the ground. He definitely could have got the 10-8 if he just threw some elbows and stuff, but he didn't really throw anything. So definitely 10-9 for Cannonier in that third round, 29-28 overall for MVP. Decent performance. I mean, it was kind of what we expected. Obviously, I expected a decision, so that's how it goes. Obviously, Jared Cannonier was number 9 ranked, so obviously MVP is going to be in that position now. He said that he's down to fight anyone. Obviously, Carlos Prates, he was asked if he would fight Carlos Prates, and he said, yeah, he would definitely take that fight. I would love to see that fight, Carlos Prates versus MVP. That would be insane. So yeah, that's what I want to see. For Jared Cannonier, I don't know, like, I would say retire, but because he's so old. He's like 41, but I know he's not going to do that. So, you know, he has to give a chance to someone down. Maybe him versus Brendan Allen. I know Brendan Allen is coming off of a decent win, so I think that would be a decent fight. Next up, let's talk about the featured fight on this card. Carlos Prates versus Jeff Neal. Wow, what a KO from Carlos Prates. Definitely his best KO of his career, I would say. Clean spinning elbow to the head top of Jeff Neal and absolutely just flattens him. I don't think I've ever seen Jeff Neal get knocked out like that. So yeah, that was insane from Carlos Prates. But to be fair, I will say Jeff Neal actually did look pretty decent in this fight. You know, as soon as they came out, Neal was landing early, to be fair. Obviously, Prates had amazing kicks, and both were landing a lot, though. You know, Prates definitely did land some big shots on Neal, which didn't really phase him. Like, he had a great chin in those first few minutes. Obviously, in Prates with his kicks and knees, just smashing knees on Neal. A great head movement by Prates. He looked amazing in this fight, in the striking. And then the last second of that round, I wasn't even looking. Like, I wasn't even expecting anything to happen. He gets a crazy spinning elbow, bro. Like, this is why you don't switch off in the last few seconds of the round. This happened twice during this card, obviously once in this fight and the other one in the Hooper versus Hernandez. You cannot afford to switch off for 1 second, because this is gonna happen, especially against Carlos Prates, who has, like, you know, devastating knockout power, probably one of the best in the division. What's next for them, man? Jeff Neal, like I said, he actually looked pretty decent. He is number 11 ranked, so I'm guessing he's just going to have to fight someone down in the rankings. Give him a fight against Gabriel Bonfim. I think that would be decent. Obviously, Bonfim is 14 ranked now, so I think that would be a decent fight. And then for Carlos Prates, like I said earlier, either give him the fight against MVP. I'm not sure if MVP was really... I'm not sure if Carlos Prates was actually that interested in that fight, because he did say he wanted Leon Edwards. So either one of those two fights, you know, Prates versus MVP, that's like the preferred one, obviously. But Prates versus Leon Edwards, he said he wants to fight him in Brazil, in Rio, in I think it's October. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not gonna object against that fight. Next up, the co-main event between Lerone Murphy and Aaron Pico. Exactly like the last fight, ended in a spinning elbow. But I actually think this one was better just because Pico was out cold, like proper cold. I will say though, like, Pico looked better. I have to give him credit, bro. Like, you have to give credit where credit is due. Pico definitely looked much better than I was expecting. Like, he was definitely landing on Murphy. He just got careless and he got knocked out. He paid the price. Listen, playing stupid games, win stupid prizes, as they say. But yeah, very quick fight to the start. Very big shots were getting traded between them. Pico got a takedown and he looked sharp. I'll give it to him. Like, he was looking sharp. But Murphy just had amazing knees, amazing elbows, spinning kicks. Like, Murphy was hitting him with everything. And then out of nowhere, he smacks him with a spinning elbow and sends him to the shadow realm. Definitely Murphy's best win of his entire career. But I have to give Pico credit. He looked way better than I expected, but in the end, he just got flipping brutalized. What a KO for Murphy. Does he deserve a title shot? Yes, in my opinion, he definitely does deserve that title shot now. Not over Movsar Evloev, if I'm being honest, but if Movsar is injured or whatever, give it to Lerone Murphy. You know, apparently Volk was actually calling out Lerone Murphy after the fight. So apparently they're going to fight in December or something, so that'll be great. And for Aaron Pico, I'm not sure, man, because obviously he just got brutalized by the number 6 guy. I do still think he deserves a shot at the ranking somewhere, so maybe a fight against one of the, you know, bottom guys of the rankings, or just someone that's close to the rankings. I would like to see him fight like a high level guy still. Maybe him versus David Onama. Obviously David Onama is number 13 ranked. Maybe they can both get a chance to prove themselves. Anyway, finally, let's talk about the main event, of course. Khamzat Chimaev versus Idris du Plessis. This panned out the way that we expected, but also the way that we didn't expect. Like, Khamzat Chimaev did the first round Khamzat in all 5 rounds. That's insane, man. You know, he had great cardio in this fight. I will say this is one of those fights which were really entertaining to watch live, but realistically, I'm never rewatching this again, because when you rewatch it, it's more boring, right? When you watch it live, it's obviously different. Obviously, that first round, early takedown from Chimaev as expected. Not much damage though. Reverse from DDP at the end, but he wastes it with some useless submission attempt. Second round, same again. Khamzat gets the early takedown, a lot of control time for basically the whole of the round. But Chimaev actually does land some powerful, strikes, elbows, stuff like that, and gets him in. I think Chimaev got him in a crucifix at least once every single round. And firstly, DDP for surviving them, but he didn't really do anything to try and get back up. Maybe it's because he couldn't. I mean, that would probably make sense, wouldn't it? But I would say that second round was probably a 10-8 just because of, the actual strikes. Same again in round 3. Brutal crucifix. 10-8 again, I would say. Round 4, exact same again. Just took him down straight away. Mark Goddard actually separated Chimaev and DDP. Some insane hate watch from Mark Goddard, but Khamzat Chimaev just instantly went straight back to that takedown and got him. And then round 5, you guessed it, same again. Chimaev, he looked insane, man. He had greatly improved cardio. Even DDP in that 5th round, he was looking gassed. Chimaev had better cardio than DDP. The fact that Chimaev neutralized DDP like this is insane. DDP basically had no significant strikes over 5 rounds. DDP in that 5th round, I would say it's a 10-9 Chimaev just because DDP did actually get a reversal. Then Chimaev got a reversal. I know DDP almost submitted him as well. Not almost, but he could have had a submission attempt in that 5th round. But yeah, overall, it is what it is, man. This is Khamzat Chimaev, bro. This is one of the most grueling, dominating performances we've ever seen in a title fight. All judges gave him unanimously 50-44, which is kind of surprising for me. I definitely thought it was at least a 50-43, but who cares, bro? I mean, at that point, we're just being picky. What's next, man? I think, look, for DDP, this is the perfect opportunity to match him up against Rainier the Ridder. I would love to see that fight. And then Khamzat Chimaev, I hope they don't give him the welterweight title shot instantly, bro. He needs to defend for sure. I mean, I don't see anyone beating him. Even, people were saying Anthony Hernandez, he has a shot after last week, but even Anthony Hernandez, I don't think he's going to be able to do anything against Chimaev. I think the days of Chimaev getting tested are gone, bro. Against Kamaru, against Gilbert, I don't think we're ever going to see that again until, Chimaev is much older. But obviously, Chimaev needs to defend against the winner of Bahalio versus Imamov. He also probably needs to defend against Hernandez if Hernandez can get another win. Maybe, I think Hernandez, he's got, a case for getting the title shot already. 8-fight win streak is crazy, but, it is what it is. Maybe he needs one more fight. But yeah, I mean, Cannonier versus Imamov is literally in a couple of weeks, so definitely the winner of that is next for the title shot. Yeah, man, this was insane. Obviously, and new. Much of us expected it, but none of us expected him to do it over 5 rounds. So that's how it is, man. So that's about it for my review of UFC 319. I will say this was an amazing card. I would probably give it 8.5 out of 10 at least, maybe even a 9 out of 10, just because there were so many great fights, so many great finishes, and so many big opportunities to come as a result of these fights. You guys let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on UFC 319. Please do comment, like, share, subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload. And yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys next time. Safe.